Hey guys, Bushcraft here. Today we are going to do, as you can see on the title, Prepper's Guide to Canned Meat. Canned meat is very important to a prepper's pantry or a prepper's stock or however you want to call what you prep. um, just meat alone goes bad in a few hours. Frozen meat, it can last a good while, but what if the power's out? The meat's going to go bad. Freeze dried. Freeze dried works great if you can afford the heavy cost of the resources that go with it, and the massive amounts of time. So canned meat fits right in there, fits right in the middle. Now you can can your own meat too. That's a lot of process too. So kind of want to go over the different things that we should be looking at as preppers to get some of this canned meat. And why should we have canned meat? Why should we carry it? A lot of survival diets, or prepping diets consist of carbohydrates alone. It can keep you alive short term, but eventually, you're going to get mentally foggy, physically weak. You're just going to go downhill after months of no protein. Canned meat solves this problem reliably. I'll learn to talk one day. A well-stocked shelf of commercially canned chicken, tuna, salmon, sardines, beef, pork gives you complete protein to manage these I'm having a hard time talking today. Your intake. So let's get down to what to buy and what to skip, so to speak. One of the best ones I go for, and luckily I got this stuff when it was a lot cheaper. Canned chicken is probably the most versatile because it goes with about everything. It works in soups, stews, pasta, wraps, salad even. And it's just good. And there's plenty of brands: Kirkland, Swanson, Valley Fresh. There's a ton of them. Now, before we get too started into this, one thing I wanted to add: there's a difference in, and this goes for any of these categories, because unfortunately there's a thing called pop tops like this. Some things they're good for because they're meant to last longer, but the ones nowadays, their only expiration is 2 to 3 years at the most. And for prepping, that's not very good. I mean, you can go with it and make sure you rotate and all that stuff, but this is a can that you need a can opener. They're trying to go away with not needing can openers anymore for whatever reason. I think the Gen Zs don't know how to use can openers or something like that. I'm surprised they know how to use the pop top, but point being, this lasts so much longer than this. And this is the only can I had at the time up here, so I didn't bother getting any other cans. But point being, there are some cans that are meant to last a lot longer, like sardines. Those cans last a long time because the seal is so strong on them. The ones now, you can just pop up with your finger. A lot of times you just drop it on the ground and it pops its seal. So anytime you have a choice, try to get the sealed can where you need a can opener. With that, always prep multiple manual can openers. Okay. One thing to look for when you're getting like the canned chicken, you want it to be in water or its own broth. You don't want nothing like tomato sauce or oils or anything like that, because that stuff will go rancid faster. You want this stuff to be good years after you purchase it. Our next one is canned tuna, just like this one. Again, these you want to be careful of what's in the ingredients. But, tuna has omega-3 fatty acids that is really good for your brain and joints and things like that. And it's good, high protein per dollar, so to speak, even though it's one up like everything else. Our next one here is canned salmon. It's very underused for most prepper pantries, but it deserves more attention. Pink salmon is the most affordable and still delivers excellent protein and omega-3 content. You can get it very cheap at Ollie's a lot of times, and you can do so much. Salmon patties is probably the big thing for me. I love salmon patties. You can make chowder pasta. Just use it like you would tuna. Now, I'm not a fan of sardines, but I'd eat them in a pinch. Our next one is sardines or mackerel. Sardines and mackerels are the most nutritious, dense option in the canned fish category. They are high in protein and extremely high in omega-3 fatty acids, rich in vitamin D, calcium, and the bones, and B12. So, that alone should have some in your pantry, plus cats like. I get sardines all the time for the cats because it's good for them. So it's always good to have some on hand. Our next one is canned beef and pork. Canned beef this includes corned beef, roast beef, beef stew, chili with beef. Corned beef is probably the most common, practical, high protein, high fat, good calorie density, and long-term shelf life. Then it works good all by itself, or hashed into a stew, fried with rice. Canned roast beef has a better texture for applications to identify meat, so it makes you feel a little bit better eating that. Spam is similar to canned pork, but high in sodium and the fact that you're not very shelf stable, even though, you know, there's been people that open these things for 10, 15 years and eat them. I don't know. I mean, I've had spam before, so, you know, I've not too long ago I made a spam sandwich. So um, our next one is, or what we should look at is canned meats. These are canned meats that you want to approach carefully. Vienna sausages. You know, they're a nifty little snack, but same thing with potted meat, are highly processed, and they're low in quality protein and high in sodium, fillers, and mechanically separated meat. Yeah. Um, and most of the cans, again, are not seal cans, they're pop top. And, you know, I guess it would be good for a short term snack or something like that, but you don't want it to be your main meal, so to speak. Now, our next one, shelf life. This can be true or not, depending how you store it. Commercially canned meat labels show best buy date, not expiration date. So you always make sure you pay attention to the label, best buy or expiration date type of thing. They want peak quality of their product. They're typically ranging from 2 to 5 years from production. Used to be minimum of 8 years, but it's gone down quite a bit since 2020. We're using as much as we're making, basically. So long-term testing by food scientists have documented in several survival preparedness research shows that canned meat remains safe and nutritious for years beyond the printed date. Taste on a 10-year-old commercial canned chicken showed a very acceptable flavor and full protein content. I mean, there's a lot of, you start getting the texture and the look starts to change. Maybe 10 years down the road, maybe vitamin A and vitamin B starts to deteriorate somewhat, but the protein is very stable. So you may them cans of chicken may last 10 years, but some of the vitamins will deteriorate just because of the fat that's in the meat. But the protein stays. It may be a little mushy, but I would rather have some mushy chicken than no chicken at all. You know what I mean? And this is research from, fancy universities and stuff like that. And this is cans that have been stored below 75 degrees Fahrenheit to maintain quality and nutrition and stuff like that. A lot of times they don't put this stuff on the can. Say, oh, store in a certain temperature, and that goes to our next one. The single biggest threat to canned meat and longevity is temperature. and especially temperature fluctuation. Heat accelerates every chemical reaction that degrades food quality. And cycling between hot and cold repeatedly is more damaging than the stable elevated temperatures. The ideal storage temperature is for canned goods is between 50 and 70 degrees. All year round, your stuff is going to last so much longer. And, cellars, basements, perfect for this. You don't want them by a window where the sun can heat them up and then cool them down. Cool, dark place. Keep cans off of concrete floors, obviously, because just the moisture, the chemicals in the concrete will eat through a can really quick. Inspect your cans. Especially the pop tops, if you push down on the can and it pops back up, get rid of it. It's ended up and it's got bacteria gas inside that swells up. That's where that bacteria grows and it creates the gas. It emits gas from breaking down the bad stuff. So anytime that your can is like that, get rid of it. You should always go down and check all your cans. And I've got a buddy back there cleaning himself for dents and stuff. Also, I've had a lot of people say, "Oh, you get rust on the top of the can, throw it away because the seal's going bad." Technically, the seal is right there. The seal is not up here. This is a solid piece of metal here. The seal is on the side. So if you get rust on the top, clean it off, whatever. You don't want to get it where you're using a can opener on it and it goes in your food or anything, but you should always clean your cans anyway before using it. Now, as preppers, if you didn't know, we always look for cans that do not have dents in them. Feel around under the labels, make sure there is no dents for storage. Now, if you're going to take it home and use it, I still wouldn't do it because you don't know how old that can is. But we always look and fill our cans. It sounds, and there went the tuna, and I just put a dent in. Anyways, looks like I'm having tuna for lunch. Anyways, point being, and that's not another thing I've noticed when I'm going to the store and I see somebody doing that, and I'm like, prepper. Anyways, how much canned meat, how much should you store? Now, you shouldn't store as much as you store rice or beans or anything like that. You don't have to have meat every meal. But you could, like for instance, a thing of tuna, a thing of sardines, very low cost, but would give you that protein and stuff. Now, if you had a big thing to do, or you knew you were going to be up for a long period of time for security or whatever the case would be, you would need that extra protein, extra energy and stuff like that. So you would want some extra protein. But like I said, you don't need it every day for a long-term scenario. You put it in for one day and it's a treat, type of thing. Certain days, if you had to do harvest time, you knew harvest time was tomorrow for potatoes or something, then you would eat some extra protein, that type of thing. But you do not have to store like protein for every day, meat protein for every day. So it doesn't have to be as much as some of the other things that you would stock in your pantry. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about, home canning meat. Now both are good in a pinch, say you're different types. And when canning, I'm not saying you have to have a pressure canner, but it saves a lot of time. And time is money, friend, as they say in World of Warcraft. But instead of 90 minutes in a pressure canner, water bath would take 3 hours. And if you could cut that time down, you could do double the batch for the same amount of time. I'm not saying bad or good or any other thing, but say you have to do it on the open fire. You don't want to use your pressure canner because unless you're very good at heat management, because at a certain temperature, aluminum will release a gas. It's just the way it is. So you have to be careful. That's why I have a stainless steel water bath canner, pot, whatever you want to call them. I have the old-fashioned one that's sprung so many leaks that I had to put JB Weld on it. That thing is older than I am. But what I'm getting at is you have to make sure your canner reaches 240 degrees, under 10 or 15 pounds pressure, depending where you're at, for at least 90 minutes. If not, botulism spores can survive that. Anyways, I hope this is somewhat helpful. There's many recipes out there that you can learn to cook with canned food, canned meat. I've done some before, just a can of chicken, some Knorrs, ready to eat, or not ready to eat, but the rice or the pasta, they're like 99 cents, $1. You just add water. You don't have to add milk and butter and all that other stuff to it. It still tastes just as good. It's just not as creamy if you don't add milk and butter. And some mixed vegetables, and you got a meal for 3 or 4 people at least. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and end this. I've been blabbing long enough. It's over 20 minutes. Like, share, comment, all that good stuff. And if you're not a member, you get to watch these videos way before everybody else does. Until next time, like always, God bless.